This video is sponsored by Dragon Shield, your destination for the best sleeves, deck boxes, and accessories in the multiverse. Purchases through the affiliate link below help the channel grow and improve. In the grim darkness of the far future, there is only war. These few words, the slogan of Warhammer 40k, succinctly capture the bloody confrontations that rage between powerful forces across the galaxy. The events of 40k unfold in the eponymous 41st millennium, an alternate future in which mankind has discovered the rudiments of spacefaring and extended its reach into the heavens to explore, exploit, and colonize myriad star systems. But all is not peaceful, as other beings lurk beyond and between the vast, cold emptiness. The once glistening Imperium of Man crumbles from internal strife as it's besieged on all sides by various hostile, spacefaring races known as Xenos, and from other dangerous powers that dwell beyond comprehension. Starships hurtle volleys of particle rays and advanced payloads at another, rending vessels in the void of space. On the surface below, seething armies comprised of billions lash out at another, with bullet, blade, beam, and body to wrest control of the planet. This image of carnage and bloodshed repeats itself on millions of settled worlds as the entire galaxy is consumed in a war for primacy. Hey lore lovers, my name's Eric with the Lorebrarians YouTube channel, where we share the lore of many fantasy settings to strengthen the connection between people and their passions. Two heavy hitters in the world of gaming and storytelling collided with the recent release of Magic the Gathering's Commander product, centered on the tabletop wargaming miniature game of Warhammer 40k. The crossover is meant to introduce hobbyists and gamers of each title to the other, and promote exploration, but with each comes dense and often convoluted world building, narrative, and history. I thought a video introducing the setting and lore of Warhammer 40k to Magic players and those unfamiliar with it would help ease the transition and shed light on this deeply rich and immersive game. As such, this video is targeted for those new to Warhammer and the world of 40k in general, not entrenched players who already have a firm grasp on the topics and will keep our exploration mostly at a surface level. Alright, let's dive in. The Milky Way, setting of Warhammer 40k, is divided into two distinct but invariably linked realms. The Materium acts as foundation for all things physical, all things tangible. Also referred to as real space, this realm is governed by the natural forces of reality, the four dimensions of space-time, and the basics of matter. It's the realm in which all major physical civilizations dwell, and over which their wars are fought. The corporeal Materium is mirrored by the ethereal realm of the Immaterium, that can neither be seen nor felt, but permeates the galaxy and underlies physical reality. The Immaterium, also known as the Warp or Realm of Chaos, is a dimension of purely psychic energy, an ocean of seething emotion rumored to be the child of sentience in the universe and final resting place of souls long departed. Energies of the Immaterium are exploited by the races of 40k to traverse the galaxy faster than the speed of light and to create powerful psychic magic. But within the swirling eddies of the Immaterium dwell demons, gods of chaos, and other psychic creatures of raw emotion given form. It's a dangerous realm, and the veil separating it from the Materium is thin. Forces of chaos relentlessly seek to pierce it and gain purchase in the mortal realm. The worlds of 40k are populated by civilizations young and old, developed and primitive, whose expansion into the void of space has led to the current state of the 41st millennium. A galaxy roiled by endless war, where defeat could spell extinction. Several races ceaselessly fight for conquest or survival. Our lens will focus on those factions that appear in the 40k Commander product for MTG, beginning with the Imperium of Man. The largest swaths of interstellar territory fall under the rule of the Emperor of Mankind and the protection of the Imperium of Man. Assuming inspiration from Gothic and steampunk sources, the Imperium is a feudalistic and domineering society, a dark culture that cares little for individuality and that is structured in zealous piety around the worship of their central godlike emperor, an immortal being of near limitless psychic and physical power who united fractured human civilizations across the galaxy during a period known as the Great Crusade. Through the crucible of blood and fire, the Imperium of Man was forged. Since its inception nearly 10,000 years ago, the Imperium has explored the darkest corners of the galaxy, colonized thousands of star systems, and exerted its preeminence across the heavens. It has long since fallen from its lustrous golden age. Once a beacon of progressive ingenuity, the Imperium of Man finds itself in the 41st millennium stagnant, bloated with corruption, and beleaguered by dark forces wishing to crush all sides of its fragile empire. Against the seething wave of external threats stands the bulwark of the Astra Militarum, the Imperial Guard. It's the sword of the Emperor, billions of soldiers conscripted, indoctrinated, and sent to die fighting wars in far-off lands against sinister forces in defense of an emperor they will never know and save a dwindling galactic imperium. At the heart of the military are legions of legendary space marines, superhumans molded by genetic engineering, mental conditioning, and grueling training to become superior in all aspects, the greatest of the Emperor's warriors. Also known as the Adeptus Astartes, these soldiers are garbed in their hallmark power armor and equipped with humanity's most impressive arsenal. Beyond mere mortality, the Space Marines know no fear, and unflinchingly wade into war completely devoted to the Emperor and his command. The Astartes are supplemented by other military branches within the Imperium, such as the Adeptus Custodes. These warriors of indomitable will and peerless martial prowess act as the Emperor's personal bodyguard, custodians of his chambers, and heralds of his will. Charged with the God Emperor's protection, the Custodes give life and limb in fulfillment of their purpose. We can see them in Vexillus Praetor, whose flavor text reads, "There is no greater bulwark than the praetors of the Adeptus Custodes, the bodyguards of the Emperor of Mankind." An imperial order of assassins and witch hunters known as the Sisters of Silence are tasked with the identification, capture, and extermination of psychic threats both within and without the Imperium. Psychers, or wielders of magic in 40k, draw their power from the Chaos Realm and are thus prone to corruption or possession by demonic entities from beyond the warp, making them dangerous to the functions of the Imperium. The Order of Sisters exists to eliminate such threats before they fully materialize, and are depicted in the card Sister of Silence. As legions of Astartes and other sects of military orders lead the Astra Militarum in battle, a more insidious force threatens imperial stability from within. Greed, corruption, ambition plague all levels of government and ranks of bureaucrats in an increasingly inefficient and crumbling administrative body. Vices that act as foothold for demonic forces of chaos seeking to infiltrate the Imperium. Infighting blinds all to machinations intent on dissolving humanity's civilization, blinds all but the Inquisitors. Under the vigilant eyes of the Inquisition, secrets are laid bare and judgment is passed on heretics or traitors. Beholden to no one else, Inquisitors answer directly to the Emperor and are charged with one purpose: the continued survival of humanity. They mercilessly exterminate all threats to their mission, for although the Imperium is a harsh and stagnant authoritarian body, were it to fall, all of humanity would perish under external assault. In MTG, the forces of the Imperium are represented in white, blue, and black mana. White offers the structure and martial solidarity of the Emperor's soldiers. Blue, the cunning intelligence of the Inquisition. Black, the fanatical devotion and willingness to sacrifice all for the glory of their God Emperor. Although the Imperium is failing, it's humanity's only salvation against threats lurking in the far reaches of the galaxy. From the shadowed dimension of the Immaterium, a force of malevolent chaos seeks to gain purchase on the material world through corruption and coercion of its mortal souls. The Ruinous Powers are comprised of the Chaos Gods, hordes of demonic entities they spawn, and the billions of devoted servants twisted by ambition and vanity, fooled into service by promises of power. The Ruinous Powers stand in direct opposition to the order invested by the Imperium and are humanity's greatest adversary. The seething oceans and torrents of pure psychic energy, found within the dimension of the Immaterium, act as the foundation for the creation of the Chaos Gods and other demonic entities. It's their lair and spawning ground, where they command the full extent of their immense power. When an emotion, a desire or action becomes significant enough in real space, it manifests itself as an embodiment of that desire within the Immaterium, a feeling given thought. Thus are the Chaos Gods born, and such is their influence as nearly all mortals experience the emotions of chaos on some level. The most powerful among them represent fundamental mortal emotions. Nurgle, oldest among the Chaos Gods, represents death, decay, and pestilence. He's the overlord of rot and gains the most by playing on mortal fears of death. His devotees fully embrace their short mortal life and propagate all manner of plagues to spread his message of decay. Demonic insect plague bearers spread disease as seen in the card Plague Drone, and Poxwalkers highlights the fate of those who face the god of death. Next is the blood god Khorne, who embodies fury, anger, and bloodshed. As the god of slaughter, the great acts of genocide, brutal battles waged, and unspeakable massacres that unfold across the galaxy fuel his strength. The rage mortals feel and the satisfaction in bloodletting spreads Khorne's message. But his followers are not merely sadists. They earn favor by killing, not by inflicting misery. As such, many of his devotees are martial warriors, skilled swordsmasters, or honorable champions. Cards like Aspiring Champion and Knight Rampager highlight both the brutal efficiency in frenzied killing, but also the restraint possessed by those filled with noble duty. Slaanesh is the chaos god of excess and hedonistic pleasure, its followers fooled by hubris and the ecstasy felt in pursuit of earthly gratuity. It's the entity of temptation and desire. Unfortunately for mortals, even pleasure, when taken to the extreme, can inflict terrible pain. The idle decadence of the Xenos Eldari Empire gave Slaanesh power as their civilization devolved into pleasure cults and preachers of hedonism. We see the devotion of the god's followers in cards like Seeker of Slaanesh and Herald of Slaanesh, whose flavortext reads, "I can show you indulgence without regret, delight without boundaries, gratifications beyond count." The last of the major chaos gods is Tzeentch, god of knowledge, lies, sorcery, and ambition. Also the god of destiny, Tzeentch heralds possibility contained within the future, and its disciples are seduced by potential. The most devoted of the god's followers are sorcerers or magic users that draw on the psychic energies of the Immaterium. Known to be enigmatic, Tzeentch and its demons whisper secrets of ancient knowledge and weave webs of lies to trap and twist mortal souls. As beings spawned of mortal emotion, the Chaos Gods require perpetuation of such passions to fuel their continued existence. They touch the physical realm through dreams and whispers, seducing mortals with promises of extraordinary power. They corrupt and convert followers wholly devoted to their worship. Through their servants' actions and the desires stoked within their hearts, the Chaos Gods grow stronger, as does their foothold on real space. When the gods wish to extend their influence through direct and powerful display, they devote a fraction of their own strength, a fragment of their will that materializes in the mortal realm as a demon, a destructive entity of pure chaos. Shackled to the will of their progenitor, at least slightly, demons live to spread the influence of their patron god. They project themselves in reality and take on bizarre, frightening shapes. Demons have numerous strong powers derived from the warp that they release to sow destruction and discord on the material realm. The lure of the Chaos Gods and their corruption is insidious. They target those with ambition, those who have been wronged, those weak of mind with lies, offering change through devoted worship. Billions of mortals have fallen under the influence of the Ruinous Powers, both willing and unwilling. Such converts include the heretic Astartes that had once numbered among the Imperium's illustrious space marines, but have traded blind subservience to the Emperor for the glory and power of chaos. This led to a great schism within the Imperium and a period of civil war known as the Horus Heresy. One of the Emperor's primarchs and most devoted followers, Horus fell prey to ambitious desire. Seeds of resentment and doubt towards his master bloomed as Horus succumbed to the powers of chaos to fuel mad passion. He longed to overthrow the Emperor and place himself on the Imperium's throne. Sensing a great champion within him, the Chaos Gods corrupted Horus and his followers, who believed the Emperor was failing them. War broke as brother fought brother, and ambition consumed the dark hearts of mortals. Though Horus was eventually defeated, his heresy in the Civil War pushed thousands of Astartes to pursue self-interest through embracing the Ruinous Powers. They serve their gods on the battlefield, perpetuating the chaotic emotions that grant them substance. Some Xenos races have chaos devotees in their ranks, but the malleable and corruptible souls of humans are the gods' most fervent acolytes. Abaddon, the Despoiler, has taken up Horus's mantle and has solidified himself as the greatest champion of undivided chaos in the galaxy, furthering the Ruinous Powers' cause. In Magic, these powers are represented through black, red, and blue mana. Greed, corruption, ambition, all the desires the gods feed from, are present in the philosophy of black mana, where power is acquired at any expense, and sacrifice of self or others is commonplace. Demons and other infernal entities have a strong representation in black mana through Magic's history, as they embody what some might deem sinful characteristics, and we see the demons of Warhammer follow this path in cards like Great Unclean One, which illustrates a member of the god Nurgle's progeny, and Mortarion, a demon Primarch, one of the God Emperor's genetically engineered sons that has since fallen into the hands of chaos and been transformed. The psychic emotion seething within the Immaterium, and from which all chaos entities are born, shares a strong affiliation with Magic's red mana, the color of passion, impetus, and recklessness. Red-aligned beings seek individuality and creativity, but they also represent discord, lawlessness, and aggression, emotions the Chaos Gods perpetuate. We see their followers on display in cards like Blood Crusher of Khorne and the Heretic Astartes, Chaos Terminator Lord. Lies, deceit, and psychic energy given form most closely align with blue mana, the color of knowledge and duplicity. This color in philosophy is aligned with the god Tzeentch, who is the manifestation of lies, evolution, transformation, and we see the god's followers on display in cards like Lord of Change, who commands mastery over destiny, and the Heralds of Tzeentch. A malevolent force, long dormant, has awoken from its slumber and seeks to re-establish its primacy over the galaxy. The ancient Necron Dynasties have emerged from their stasis tomb worlds and threatened conquest upon all living creatures. Necrons are a Xenos race of humanoids that have long since dispensed with the fragility of flesh to embrace cold perfection granted through metallic immortality. They are android warriors forged from living steel whose will is encoded with one purpose: see their ruling dynasties restored to the power they enjoyed eons ago and subjugate the galaxy in a metal grip. The origins of the Necrons can be traced back 60 million years into the past. It's been twisted by time and shrouded in mystery, but they were once a mortal race of flesh called the Necrontyr, whose homeworld subjected them to terrible elements, solar radiation, and toxic landscapes. For Necrontyr, life was impermanent and short. The eternal permanence of death held true power and became the subject of worship and devotion among their culture. They erected sprawling tomb networks and catacomb cities to enshrine generations of their departed bloodlines, certain that once their grim, short life of penitential pain finally ended, the Necrontyr would join the ranks of their deceased families. Over millennia of development, the Necrontyr took to the stars to escape their brutal world and seek new life among strange planets. Though they found environments far more suitable to life, the Necrontyr were genetically plagued by their past. They couldn't escape the cancerous degradation of their bodies and the brevity of their lives merely by fleeing their homeworld. They sought knowledge of immortality, on how to defeat the weakness of the body, and through their travels the Necrontyr came across a race known as the Old Ones, who possessed the secrets of long life. Necrontyr implored the Old Ones to share the secrets of immortality, but they refused and rebuked the accursed Necrontyr, consigning them to lives of pain and suffering. Seething with hatred towards the Old Ones for their indifference, the Necrontyr turned offensive and sought to take immortality through force. Battle broke out between the two, a period of prolonged bloodshed that would be known as the War in Heaven, for dominance of the stars and the secrets of longevity. Though the Necrontyr possessed advanced technologies, they were outmaneuvered by the Old Ones' mastery of the travel lanes through the galaxy, and defeats compounded until they were once more pushed back to their homeworld, exiled in anguish. While resentment boiled over years, the Necrontyr soon discovered an alternative to achieve what they desired. Through technological advancements and a pact with enigmatic star gods of immense power known as the Catan, the Necrontyr traded their souls for immortality through biotransference. In this process, a Necrontyr's weak, blighted body was replaced with living metal called necrodermis, their consciousness preserved for eternity in ageless artificial bodies, but their will enslaved and their soul essence feasted upon by the star gods to maintain their power as part of the contract. Biotransference is highlighted in the card that bears its name, and in the flavortext of Mindstone we hear of the process. During biotransfers, the Necrontyr lost almost all individuality. What little remained was imprisoned within a living metal form. With this process, the Necrontyr died, and became instead the android Necrons, slave to the Catan. The Star Gods used legions of their subjugated immortal Necrons to war with the Old Ones. The Necrons, now possessed of immortality themselves, mercilessly attacked the Old Ones with malice that had emerged from jealous resentment over what the Old Ones refused to deliver. With the immense strength of their Catan allies, the Necrons were able to defeat the Old Ones and claim dominance over much of the galaxy. Their ambition could take them only so far, as long as they were tethered to their Star God's will, and so the Necrons overthrew the Catan that deceived them, regaining their independence. Though victory was at hand, the Necrons were left severely weakened. They built massive stasis tombs on several worlds and fell into deep hibernation to recover, rebuild, and await a galaxy ready to receive their rule. The period known as the Great Sleep overtook a race that quickly fell from memory, but that remained under the earth of countless tomb worlds, which we see in the art and flavortext of Desert of the Glorified, which reads, "On countless frontier worlds, below silica sand, blasted chalk, or bubbling marsh, slumbering Necrons await." In the 41st millennium, the Necrons' massive tomb worlds that had protected them in stasis activated, and the race has awoken to a strange and unknown time, seen and out of the tombs, but one they no less seek to dominate. Time and biotransference has transformed any sense of morality, compassion, or understanding into hatred and cold resentment. Necrons see all their life as inferior, they abhor flesh, and wish to eradicate the galaxy of all lesser beings. Necrons are ruthless and nearly impossible to destroy in battle, at least completely. Their impervious metal carapaces deflect incoming blows and when damaged can regenerate, which we see on display in cards like Sautek Immortal and Dread Return. Their bodies are living weapons, and Necrons are outfitted with brutally efficient death rays and Gauss weapons that vaporize defenses or deconstruct molecules. Having mastered immortality, life after death, and laden with unfeeling malice, the Necron Dynasties perfectly encapsulate black mana and magic. Their cards can be brought back from beyond the grave, as many possess the Unearthed mechanic, which represents the immortality Necrons possess. They sacrifice their own number for greater gain, highlighted in the card Illuminor Ceres, and they are willing to trade their souls to attain power, as seen with biotransference. These sentiments are strongly echoed in the philosophy of MTG's Black Mana. A highly advanced race despite its ancient origins and eons of slumber, the Necron Dynasties are possessed of intense hatred for all others and bring such fervent malice to the battlefield, where each victory brings the galaxy one step closer to cold, metallic perfection. From beyond the void of space and time separating celestial bodies, a menace, inexorable in its advance, has emerged to threaten not only the Imperium of Man, but indeed the entire Milky Way galaxy, the Tyranid Swarm. Tyranids are a Xenos race of myriad bioengineered organisms, insectoid and horrific in appearance, and of similar genetic makeup. The ultimate predators, Tyranids hunt for biomass, indiscriminately consuming entire planets to feed their insatiable hunger and fuel continued evolution. Masters of bioconversion and genetic adaptation, Tyranid creatures are engineered to exploit the weaknesses of their prey. Members of the swarm aren't bound by conscience, not tied to ambition. They have but one motivation: a burning hunger to feed off the life force of the galaxy, and only empty husks of worlds drained of biomass float, shattered in their wake. At the heart of the Tyranid swarm is the hive mind, an ethereal commanding intelligence that connects all Tyranids together and directs their actions. From the smallest spores to the largest hive ships, all is under the influence of the hive mind. Individual Tyranid lives are strictly utilitarian. Like the cells of a larger organism, so too are Tyranids part of the larger swarm, fulfilling their purpose without question or self-interest. This makes them particularly difficult creatures to fight on fields of battle, as they attack with relentless aggression, unconcerned with thoughts of pain or self-preservation. Though the hive mind connects all Tyranids, they can be further divided into swarms or hive fleets, each instilled with a sense of intelligent independence that gives rise to rivalry and competition with another to propagate their own lineage. The center of the swarm is occupied by a Norn queen that is responsible for the evolution, development, and proliferation of the swarm. All Tyranids are born from the Norn queen and the queen engineers its progeny to fulfill particular tasks. As synaptic creatures connected through governing intelligence, it's critical that Tyranids maintain a link to their central hive mind. If severed, a Tyranid creature will devolve into animalistic, directionless aggression out of sync with the hive's intention. Great Tyranid beasts such as the Swarm Lord and Winged Hive Tyrant act as conduits for the mind, synaptic nodes that broadcast and amplify the central intelligence. Tyranid swarms are drawn to biomass and hunt for planets rich in raw material to consume. Their infection of a planet follows a stepwise process. First is surveillance and infiltration. Scouts are sent out to star systems, feelers that test the environment and determine if a planet is ripe with biomass. If found, Tyranid lictors and gene stealers are deployed to gather information on prey flora and fauna, convert native species into Tyranid hybrids, and plant spies within enemy ranks subservient to the hive mind. We see this in cards like Gene Stealer Patriarch. Next, hive ships appear from space and rain down billions of parasites and organisms to infest the host world, diligently breaking down organic material at the cellular and genetic level, integrating it into the swarm. From gathered biomass are grown capillary towers, grotesque tendrils of living matter that reach beyond the planet's atmosphere and connect it to the hive's orbiting ships. The capillary towers at this stage of invasion are given to us in the cards Harrow and Command Tower, whose flavor text reads, "In the late stages of Tyranid invasion, vast capillary towers funnel biomass to the hive ships waiting in orbit. Through the towers, the hive begins draining the planet of all biomass down to the core. As the process of absorption unfolds, armed and armored Tyranids assault and overwhelm any defenders on the surface. Their bioengineered creatures of war take on terrifying forms with chitinous bodies, flaring tentacles, and horrid sharpened appendages. They tear through any defense natives of the planet are able to mount. Tyranid infection ends when the planet is consumed, drained of all organic material, and left a desiccated, lifeless and cold husk. The hive mind spurs the swarm to find new planets on which to feed." In Magic, Tyranids embody the aspects of green, blue, and red mana. They're a force of nature with hulking beasts of immense power, represented in green. Their ability to adapt, to shapeshift, and communicate through shared intelligence is hallmark of blue mana. And their reckless aggression, their burning drive, is evocative of the liberating and chaotic color of red. Tyranids are a species unlike any other, and if not dealt with, threaten the Imperium and the galaxy's continued existence. The galaxy of Warhammer 40k is grim and war-torn, where billions of souls fall in bloody conflict to impress supremacy over all others, where myriad races young and old seek conquest and survival, where forces beyond comprehension twist bodies and minds around diabolic schemes. It's a universe rich in war, with thousands of years of history behind it, and many more flashpoint events to come in its future. Thanks so much for watching and listening to this video on an introduction to Warhammer 40k. Now I want to hear from you. Let me know your thoughts on the factions of 40k, whether you'd like to see more videos covering this topic, as well as suggestions for future videos in the comments below. And if you're a fan of lore and storytelling, consider subscribing to the channel or checking out the podcast, where content is uploaded frequently. Again, a huge shout out to all of my Patreon supporters who make all of this possible. I couldn't do it without their spectacular patronage. If you're interested in becoming a lore luminary for access to me, a great community, and early video drops, check out the link below, or head to patreon.com/Lorebrarians to learn more. Until next time, go forth and explore the lore.